This week on Video Game Hub, Nintendo gives us a Smash Bros. Release date, and it's not exactly what you might expect. Borderlands has a new prequel coming, and Civilization is moving to outer space. All that right now. Greetings everyone, this is Dave LeClaire, gaming editor for MakeUseOf.com, and it is time for Video Game Hub. But before we get into our third story this week, I would like to apologize for this. The baldness of my face. The Flyers have made the NHL playoffs, and as such, I need to grow a playoff beard. In order to grow a playoff beard, you gotta shave your face first. So this will be the one and only episode that you will see me with a bald face. So enjoy it while it lasts, or hate it while it lasts. But either way, it's time to go to the third story, which is that the Borderlands prequel, which they are calling Borderlands the Pre-Sequel, which is the full word prequel. I don't know why they're stretching it out. They're weird over at Gearbox. Anyway, the Borderlands Pre-Sequel is coming, and it was shown off at PAX East this year. It will be dropping fall of 2014 on Xbox 360 and PlayStation 3. So no next-gen Borderlands just yet, but the art style of Borderlands really lends itself well to being played on a previous-gen console anyway, because it's a cel-shaded game that's more stylized and not so much about having the super high-fidelity visuals. But we do know some new information about the game that we found out at PAX East, and what we know is the following. The general gist of the game will be the backstory behind Handsome Jack, who was the villain in Borderlands 2. It will actually take place between Borderlands 1 and 2, so it's not necessarily a prequel in the traditional sense, because it's not taking place before the franchise began, but rather it's more of a filler story between Borderlands 1 and Borderlands 2. We also found out who the 4 playable characters are. We're going to have Athena, Willem, Claptrap, and Nisha. Now that's right, I said Claptrap. The lovable robot who generally guides you through the world of Borderlands will actually be a playable character, which sounds awesome. If you are a fan of Borderlands, you probably love Claptrap because he's one of the awesomest characters in the franchise, and now you're going to be able to play as the little joyous robot. We also learned about some of the new mechanics of the game, which actually involve being on the moon, which you see destroyed in Borderlands 2 and looking pretty in Borderlands 1. So there's low gravity, which makes giant jumps happen, and some pretty cool, interesting twists on the game that you don't necessarily expect to see. Like previous Borderlands games, we're expecting 4-player online co-op, seeing as there's 4 characters. So you can get together with your friends online, blast some stuff up, collect some sweet guns, and have a good time. It's coming to 360, PS3, and PC, so pretty much everybody has at least one of those platforms at this point. So if you are a fan of the Borderlands franchise, this looks to be more of the same with some cool tweaks, so it's definitely a game you're going to want to check out. Moving on to our second story of the week this week, that is that we now know the release dates for Super Smash Bros. For the 3DS and the Wii U. And in a move that could be at best described as confusing, and at worst described as stupid, Nintendo has decided to release the 3DS version of the game in summer and the Wii U version of the game later in the fall. Now it's presumed that they're probably holding the Wii U game back as an attempt to have something big to sell for the holiday season. But with the situation that the Wii U is in right now, it needs big games, and there is no game bigger coming than Super Smash Bros. But people are going to get a taste of it on the 3DS, and a lot of people are probably not going to want to buy the same game twice. What Nintendo needs is to get the people who don't already have a Wii U to go out and buy one to play 3DS. But if they can get their fill of it on a portable console, how many of them are really going to go out and buy the game again? Now the hardcore fans will, but most of those hardcore fans already have Wii Us. So I don't really understand what Nintendo was going for with this. It could just be a matter of that the Wii U version is not done and the 3DS version is done, and they want to get one version out there so they can start making money on it. But in the long run, that could be a move that shoots them in the foot because it could cannibalize the Wii U sales. On the other hand, people might just say, forget the 3DS version, I want to play Super Smash Bros. On a console with a controller on my big TV, and it could have absolutely no effect whatsoever. But it's hard to see that it could have a positive effect. I can see plenty of ways that a negative effect could come from this, but I have a hard time imagining how this could actually work out favorably for them. Best case scenario is it works out exactly the same as it would have. It seems like it would have been smart to get the Wii U version out first and make it so if you want to play Super Smash Bros., you have to go out and buy a Wii U. You can wait for the 3DS version and play it later, but you definitely have to get a Wii U if you want to play it. That seems like the smarter way to go. Putting it out on the same day would probably not have been a great idea either, because then they're going to cannibalize each other. Most people aren't going to run out to the store and buy 2 games of the same game on the same day. But if you're gonna do one first and one second, it clearly seems like it should have been the Wii U version first with the 3DS version to follow. We'll see how this ends up shaking out in the end. Like I said, people might just decide, I'm gonna wait for the Wii U version regardless and not care, and it could be a huge seller for them come holiday season. But it seems like they made a mistake here. At least we know the release dates, at least we know one's coming summer and one's coming in fall. I just wish it was the other way around and the Wii U one was coming first. All right guys, before we move on to the #1 story of the week this week, it is time for the contest. Part of the show where I get to give back to you. Last week's winner is Kendall Sensherry, so you are gonna get a Make Use of t-shirt. Congratulations. I'm gonna send you a message on YouTube. Make sure to check your inbox. This week, we got something a little bit different to give away. I have Control Freaks, which are devices that go on your Xbox 360 or PlayStation 3 controller and they enhance your gameplay ability. I have one for basketball games and one for shooters. So you can tell me which one you want, so leave a comment, tell me the name of the game for the image that you're seeing right now, and which one you want. You want Hoops Freak or you want Vortex? Tell me which one you want. You can get yourself a free Control Freaks, which is an awesome product that you should definitely check out. Even if you don't win one, you might want to buy one because they do make playing shooters and other games quite a bit better. And here's the image one last time. Take a look. Time to move on to the #1 story. And it is time for the #1 story of the week this week, and that is that there's a new Civilization game coming, Sid Meier's Civilization Beyond Earth, which means Civilization is going to space. Not only are they going to space, they're going to the future. So in this Civilization game, instead of starting way back in the old times and working your way up to modern times, you're going to start 250 years beyond today, and we're going to find a new planet. You're going to move to that planet, and then you get to make some choices about what kind of people you want on the planet. Do you want a bunch of people who are down with cyborgs? Do you want human purists? Do you want to rape and pillage the land, or do you want to embrace the land? All the kinds of stuff you would do in Civ, but with a much bigger scope because you're going to outer space and taking over a different planet. It sounds freaking awesome. If you are even remotely a fan of strategy games, you've probably played Civilization before. So imagine that formula in the future in space. It sounds like a recipe for success to me. It's coming later this year, so you don't even have to wait this long. And surprisingly, they announced it at PAX East, which is a place where games are not usually announced. It's more of a place for fans of games to come check out stuff that's not out yet. The stuff that we normally see at E3, you see at PAX East because it's a place for fans to play it, not just media. Now, we did find out a ton of new features about the game, one of which is the quest system, which they're injected into the fiction of the game, and they kind of help to expand the gameplay instead of just kind of, well, I'm going to make my civilization, I'm going to build it up, I'm going to either take over the world. They're actual little individual tasks for you to do throughout the game, which actually kind of give it a little bit more life. There's obviously all kinds of customization for your units, and there's 8-player multiplayer and mod support. So it pretty much has everything that you would expect from a Civilization game in terms of the type of features and the gameplay it's going to have, just with a major shift in focus. And another thing is it lets them be way more creative because instead of trying to recreate actual historic events, they can make their own types of units and their own types of wildlife to be on a planet. Instead of tigers and whatnot, they can make things that don't exist. So it gives the art design a whole new direction they can take it in. And from reports of what people have seen on PAX, it looks quite promising. And I personally cannot wait to get my hands on it later this year. And if you like strategy games, you should most certainly be excited for this one. Unfortunately, this episode of Video Game Hub is now coming to a close, but don't despair because I have plenty of other stuff for you guys to watch. To start with, if you take a look directly under me, you are going to see last week's episode of Video Game Hub, where you can find out about where Amy Hennig is going and all kinds of other awesome news. Over here to this side of me, you are going to find a video from Mr. Justin Pott, the managing editor of MakeUseOf, about how to install Fusion in XBMC, which allows you to put all kinds of add-ons in XBMC very, very easily. And over here on the left, it's one of my favorite videos of all time, and that is a video of me playing Goat Simulator because I still love Goat Simulator, and you should watch that video. So with that, make sure to click the subscribe button all the way down below, the very farthest point down on the screen. You'll see it all somewhere down there. It's hidden. There's a button that says YouTube subscribe. Click that, subscribe, so that you don't miss any episodes of Video Game Hub and all this other awesome video stuff that we put out here at MakeUseOf. And we will see you guys next week.